Right, so let's try this thing on video. This one's a start. I'm going to try do this for like 30 days where I talk about a topic that is interesting in my world. And the first thing that comes to mind today is the topic of universe building. So I've built an audience on LinkedIn of about 40,000 people, an email list, and I'm on socials. As a copywriter at heart, based in email marketing and stuff, writing has always been something that sparks my interest. And, all sorts of copywriters around the world will tell you to do things, especially in the social universe, where you have to follow hooks, you have to follow certain ways of formatting and calls to actions and stuff. And for me, I birthed this concept called the power writer, because the power writer speaks to the heart and not the mind. And essentially what I've done is I've doubled down on a concept that Ben Settle, a famous email marketer, calls universe building. What is universe building? Essentially, it's creating a world that is your own by exposing the certain bits and pieces that you want people to relate to outside of the business. So I think the best way to put this together is by listing a few examples. So if we think of, like, I'm a 90s kid, right? So cartoons and games and stuff, like especially Nintendo, was a universe that I was immersed in growing up. And, if we say Popeye, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Spinach, right? So when I say spinach, you say Popeye. When I say honey, you might think of Winnie the Pooh, right? Or if I say mushroom, you might think of Super Mario and Mario Kart and all that fun stuff in that universe. And then comparing universes, like if we say Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, World of Warcraft, all these universes had their own little items, and I found the best way to start building your own universe is to crown and coin your own word and double down on it so much that people start to see it and relate. So on LinkedIn, a big part of how I grew my audience was doubling down on the watermelon. Watermelon is essentially the spirit fruit of Cyprus, the island where I live. Like, my grandfather used to feed us watermelon in the summer to keep us cool and tell stories. So it holds a special place in my heart. Right now, as a business and marketing coach, I've tied watermelon to money and have started this almost like a cult-like thing where people follow me and ask, and if I don't mention watermelon, they're like, what the hell's wrong with you today? You didn't mention it. So it's looking at the items around you, your hobbies, your interests, your past life, your country of origin, where you are, and start picking little words to favor something, and then also start picking words to form an enemy, right? Nothing beats a nice, good old contrarian take. So in my world, what I've started doing is I've built a universe with some core items. So watermelon being the money, the act of happiness, the thing that drives the humor. Crocs being the item that the enemy wears. So Crocs are just simply things, shoes that I hate wearing. I'm more of a barefoot type person, or Birkenstocks if I had to pick. So I start calling people out that wear Crocs, and people laugh at it, they get immersed, they fight under the comments, and it's just really fun to start the engagements. Another thing is, like, where I'm from, people who went to private school were called butter boys because they melted at the slightest bit of discomfort, right, and challenge. So butter boys are people from the capital that went to private school. Who is the enemy in the business world, in my world? Because I talk a lot about conversion and attracting dream clients and sales. My enemy are growth gurus, who preach about likes and virality and impressions and this kind of stuff. So I call them butter boys, right? Or another one can be, for example, like with the sales cycle, I don't enjoy sales calls, so I've given that a character in my universe. I'm like, that is the bro scaler, the sales bro. And I call them out, and people start to get immersed in those little items and get attracted to you. So one really cool thing would be to kind of look at your surroundings and think, like, and sometimes it's really obvious. Like, I had a client who said I had a bit of a boring life and there isn't something in my universe. all of a sudden he said he does boxing, he started pop dancing, and he's got a daughter and this and that, and he lives in the UK somewhere. All of a sudden, that is his own universe, right? So I'm going to leave you with that, and hopefully that was useful. So stop copywriting, start power writing, and coin that term to attract dream clients into your universe.